Hi, I'm Sarah Ray. I'm a speech and language therapist working for Oxford Health with children with complex needs. I work with children who've got difficulties with their talking and children who find it difficult to communicate. In these sessions, what we want to do is give you the strategies so you can support your child who's probably pre-verbal and is probably preschool with their communication skills. We want to empower you so you're able to carry out some strategies at home that will make the difference to your child's communication. So, what is communication? It's a really complex process, and in these sessions we're going to help you understand what communication is. You know your child best, so you're the one who's going to be able to help your child. And we want you to see your child's communication from their point of view. We want you to be able to tune in to your child's communication. We want you to use your skills then to adapt your communication styles to develop your child's interaction and then develop their communication so that you can support your child at home. We've split these sessions into 3 parts. So in the first session, we're going to help you understand what communication is and help you think about your child's communication. What are they communicating for and how are they communicating? In session 2, we're going to give you the tools to tune in to your child's communication and help you change how you play with your child and use play as a way for developing your child's communication. In the final session, we're going to think about how your child is motivated to communicate. We're going to use your child's motivation and find out what their interests are so we can use those motivations and interests to help them communicate. We can take these motivations and adapt what we are doing to help your child communicate. In all of these sessions, in all 3 of them, we're going to be talking about communication, which doesn't have to involve talking and it doesn't have to involve words. This is about your child's communication and how they're initiating communication with you. To help us understand this, which is a really complex process of communication, we're able to look at it with this tree. This gives us a really visual way of how communication develops. And we use this in all our presentations to really help you understand how communication develops and the processes in communication. Children may have difficulties at different points of this tree. A lot goes on before a child is actually talking. So the words that a child says, the sentences a child says, all of those things happen when the roots of the tree are all in place. Many parents, understandably, are really keen for their child to say words. But there's a lot that needs to happen in the first place before that's possible. We really need to make sure that the roots of the tree are in place and really well established. And then we can start using words meaningfully to talk. We can start using words to try and request and express ideas and have conversations, start putting words together. All of these things are the blossom on the tree. But before all that, children need to be able to listen. They need to be able to hear what you're saying, and they need to be able to focus on what you're saying and be interested in what you're saying to them. The child needs to want to respond when you ask them to go and do something, when you ask them to get their shoes, or perhaps if you ask them to give you the ball. The child needs to listen to that instruction before they can follow it through. A child needs to learn to play together. When I mean that, what I mean is that we need children to want to play with you and want to play with other children. We want them to be motivated to want to join in with your play and for you to join in their play for long periods of time. We want children to be sociable. Children need to want other people and they need to want to initiate interactions. Children, before they start talking, need to learn to copy. They need to be interested in what you're doing and copy what you're doing. So when you're clapping your hands, the child will be motivated to clap their hands because that's what they're motivated to do, because that's part of the interaction. Your child needs to learn to connect with you, and the connection needs to be with you in play, and we call this shared attention. The child needs to have shared attention with you in play and within interactions, and so therefore they can communicate. If we get all of this right, then children become motivated to communicate. They become motivated to ask you if they want a banana. They become motivated to come to you and ask you if they want an apple. So we've got to expand all of these skills before we can start working on their talking and their words. So as a parent, and those people that work with your child, you're the sunshine and you're the water that helps that tree grow. That's what your job is, that's you. You need to provide those opportunities every day through stimulation and through the right opportunities in play for your child to develop those roots of the tree. And these are things we can do every day, and they're really easy things that can be done every day. So hopefully by the end of these 3 sessions, you'll understand how you can do that yourself for your child at home. So, how does your child communicate? How is your child starting to initiate communication with you? And all of these things are the roots of section of the tree. These are the foundational skills that a child needs to develop their understanding of language and to start using words. This is the before words part of a child's development. And we're focusing on the roots of the tree, as well as the sunshine and the water, and that's the opportunities and the stimulation that your child is getting through play and through the interactions that you're having with your child. And this is where other people come in. This is where the preschool teachers come in, and the key workers working with your child can all do this as well. It's making an important difference for your child. So we need your child to use some of these non-verbal means of communication. And your child may already be doing this. So also, we need, as parents and adults working with your child, we need to step back and we need to start recognising when your child is using some of these really early pre-verbal communication strategies. Because some of them can be quite quick and some of them can be missed. So it's really important that we spend a lot of time just holding back and figuring out how is your child communicating with you. So, is your child using eye contact with you? Is your child able to look at you to indicate to you they want something? Will a child look at what they want? Will they look when they want a biscuit from the table, or if they want their bottle of milk, or if they want their cup? Will they look at that and will they look at you? Will they take you towards it? Will they take you by the hand to that cup that's on the table, or that biscuit barrel that's on the table that they want to have a biscuit from? Will the child lead you by the hand to somewhere they want to go to find what they want? And also, will they lead you by the hand while they look at you? Does the child take your hand and look at you? Does the child look at you at the same time, or are they just pulling you? It's just thinking about your child's communication. What is it they're doing to tell you what they want? Is the child crying or getting upset because they can't get what they want? Is the child making a noise? So have a think, what is your child doing when they want to be able to get the top of the bubbles that they're playing with, or they can't make a toy work? Or perhaps your child can't make the iPad work. Perhaps the iPad's run out of charge. What does your child do to tell you that they want that iPad back on again? Will they bring it to you? Will they make a noise? Will they throw the iPad because they're cross, they can't open it and can't turn it on? How is your child communicating? Does your child reach for something or point to something? This child in this slide, you can see he's pointing. The child is pointing and looking at mum at the same time. He's pointing because he realises that if he points to something, his mum will understand that that's what he wants. Pointing is quite a tricky skill to learn if you're finding those bottom parts of the tree difficult. Pointing means that you understand that that person, that adult you're interacting with, understands what you want and understands that you're looking at the same thing. So is your child able to point? Do they point to what they want? Do they wave? Do they clap? Do they socially wave? So when you say goodbye to somebody who's leaving the house, or if you're going out shopping, does your child wave to you before you go? These are just general interactions and gestures that a child at pre-verbal level might be starting to use. But perhaps your child isn't. But it's worth thinking and stepping back and thinking, how is my child communicating? And what are they communicating for? What is their reason for communicating with you? Are they communicating because they want something? Are they communicating to you because they don't want something? Do they push you away? Do they push something away? If you give them a drink and they don't want it, do they push it away? Do they communicate to you when they're cross? Do they tell you they're angry or they're sad? Do they tell you they're cross because perhaps they can't get something that they want to play with? Or maybe they're cross because they can't go and play in the garden and you've said no. All of these are communication strategies your child is using to say, I'm not very happy. Does your child communicate to share with you? So will a child bring you something? Will they bring you something they've played with and share it with you? Will your child point to something they've made or something they've done and share it with you to get your attention? All of these things are ways that your child is communicating. They're probably doing all these without saying anything, but they're different ways that your child is communicating to you. And they're different ways, things that your child is communicating for. So for homework, I want you to step back and watch your child. Think about how they're communicating and what they're communicating for. Is their communication working? And how are you supporting what they're doing? And how are you supporting their ways of communicating? And how successful is their communication? So take time in your day, whether or not when you're playing with your child or when your child asks for something, just step back and have a really good think about how your child's communicating and what they're communicating for. Importantly, is it successful? And then next time, we're going to be thinking about what we can do next to support your child's communication.